العالمين الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Respected brothers and sisters in Islam, first we thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala once again. Allah has afforded us and granted us the tawfiq. We have performed our Maghrieb Salaah with Jama'ah, Alhamdulillah. We make dua, Allah accept our salah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us sincerity and istiqamah, Ameen Rabbil Alameen. Alhamdulillah, this morning we've started, and actually Saturday morning we've done a hadith of Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, in where Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam spoke about the dangers of the tongue, and how a believer is identified, al-Muslimu man salim al-Muslimuna min lisanihi wa yadihi, that a Muslim is defined as one who his tongue and his hands, other Muslims are safe from. And we have decided to read through some of the work of Ibn Qudama al-Maqdisi rahimahullah, who was a great Hanbali scholar, and has written this book and many other books. And this specific book, it deals with our spiritual path towards and spiritual growth towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he discusses very interesting things and beautiful discussions and examples that he makes. And so inshallah tonight, for those who weren't present this morning, you will read through again the defects of the tongue. As I mentioned, Ibn Qudama discusses under the defects of the tongue, he discusses about 12 defects. 12 defects of the tongue alone. And inshallah, that being the intention, that inshallah we'll read through these defects with the niyyah that Allah must grant us the ability. If we are of those who have these defects, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must correct us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala must save us. Ameen ya Rabbil Alameen. And on the defects of the tongue, Ibn Qudama rahimahullah mentions that the dangers and harms of the tongue are many. It has a sweetness in the heart, and its motives spring from nature. There is no salvation from its dangers except by silence, says Ibn Qudama rahimahullah. We will firstly mention the virtue of silence and follow this up with mentioning some of the faults of the tongue in detail. And he mentioned the hadith of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that whoever can guarantee for me what is between his two jawbones, meaning the tongue, and what is between his two legs, meaning his private part, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam guarantees for that person Jannah. In another hadith, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that the servant of Allah, in a hadith where Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that the iman of a person will never become straight. It will never be, a person will never achieve istiqamah. The hadith actually uses, the Rasul uses the word istiqamah. A person will never achieve istiqamah until the heart is on the path of istiqamah, until the heart is straight. And then says Rasulullah, but the heart will never become straight in istiqamah until the tongue is straight, until the tongue is used in a manner that is pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then also the hadith of Mu'adh bin Jabal radiallahu anhu, where Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam kept his tongue, and Rasul sallam told Mu'adh, Ya Mu'adh, that restrain this tongue. And Mu'adh said, Ya Rasulullah radiallahu anhu, that Ya Rasulullah, will we be questionable by Allah? Will we be responsible for how we use our tongue? And Rasul sallallahu alayhi wasallam says, as an expression, that may your mother be bereaved of you, O Mu'adh. People will be thrown into the fire upon their faces, or he said upon their noses, only due to the traps of the tongue. And then says Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam that whoever can withhold his tongue, Allah will hide his secrets in this dunya and in the akhirah. Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu mentioned that there's nothing which needs to be imprisoned for a long time except for my tongue. Abu Darda radiallahu anhu also stated, be just with the ears as you are with your mouth. For 2 ears have been made for you and 1 mouth, so that you will hear more than you speak. And Makhlad ibn Hussein stated, I have not spoken a word for 50 years except that I wanted to be excused for it. So these are some of the virtues, some of the statement of the awliya and the sahaba and the pious servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala regarding the tongue. And now Ibn Qudama rahimahullah, after mentioning the virtue of silence and the virtue of protecting the tongue, he moves on to the defects of the tongue. And he says the first defect of the tongue is speaking of what does not concern you. Speaking of what does not concern a person. This is the first defect. And he mentions, look at the beautiful example. He says that know that the one who knows the true estimation of his time and that it is the capital, it is his capital, will not spend out from it except for that wherein there is benefit. So the time Allah has given to us is a capital. And when we start our business and when we have capital, we are very particular how we spend that capital. Because that is ultimately the engine which drives my business. Likewise, the time Allah has given us, the person who understands the value of the time Allah has given him, says Ibn Qudama, he won't waste his time into things which does not benefit him. An authentic Rasul or an authentic hadith, Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says a hadith that we have discussed many times, min husn Islam al-mar'i tarku ma la ya'ni, that from the virtue and the goodness of a person's iman is that he does not indulge in things which have no benefit in it. So the Rasul says the indication to a person's iman is when he leaves the things which has no benefit in it. And this is one of the fitness and the trials of our time. Today, one of the famous things we say is we don't have time. And then we look and we read it, Imam Shafi'i, he recited 40 khatams in the month of Ramadan. We have people who recite one khatam during the day. And then you say, how is it possible? And the ulama mentioned, but they had the same 24 hours that we have. They also have 24-hour day. We have a 24-hour day. So something we are doing different. So today we can have a discussion face to face with a person in a group of friends. We can be speaking things which are of no benefit, and sometimes it can carry on for hours. Today we can sit on a chat group on WhatsApp. We can carry on speaking for hours on end. On Facebook, we can go through all of the liking every post and going through all of these things. On Instagram, so we are so, and that's why I say it is a fitna of our time. It is a fitna of our time because in so many ways we can indulge in things which have no benefit in it. So many ways we can indulge in speech which have no benefit in it. And that's why Ibn Qudama rahimahullah, he says the first is that a person should not use his time. The first defect is that we shouldn't use our time in spending hours and wasting our time in speaking in things which have no benefit in it. For Allah says in the Quran that وَمَا يَلْفِظُ مِنْ قَوْلٍ إِلَّا لَدَيْهِ رَقِيبٌ عَتِيدٌ. There's not a word that we utter except that the malaika, they are writing. That's why the ulama say that we speak things which have no benefit. We're not wasting our time. We're wasting our time. We're wasting our time. And we're wasting the time of the malaika to carry on writing whatever we say that is right. So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us the ability to value our time Allah has given to us. That when we speak, we need to ask, is this really going to waste my time? Is there any benefit of what I'm about to say? So we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give us a tawfiq and understanding. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.